Welcome to the back my channel.
You could feel the tension in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. People in the hallway whispered, like they knew something bad was about to go down. It was the kind of silence that makes you uneasy, like right before a storm hits. The Brown family showed up, one by one. Kody walked in first, trying to seem chill. His face was calm, but you could see the exhaustion in his eyes. You could tell he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. He moved slow, like he was walking through a hurricane, and you could tell he wasn't ready for what was coming. Robyn came next, looking perfect, hair, makeup, the whole deal. But her eyes gave her away. They were sharp, a little too alert. She looked like she'd gone over this moment a million times in her head, getting ready for what was about to happen. She smiled at the cameras, but it looked fake, like she was hiding how scared she was. Then the other wives arrived, each walking in on their own, each with their own pain to carry. Christine looked mad. Her jaw was tight, her eyes flashing anger. She held her head high, but you could see the tension in her shoulders, like she was about to explode. Janelle looked calm, but her face was pale, and her hands shook a bit. She was trying to keep it together, but her body was telling a different story. She was scared. Mary looked like she was barely holding it together, tears welling up in her eyes. She looked like she'd already lost something big and was trying to pretend she hadn't. The courtroom was freezing. It smelled like old books. The lights were too bright, and the walls felt like they were closing in. The judge sat there like a statue, and as soon as he spoke, the whole room went silent.
It was the kind of silence that makes you realize you're not just watching a show, you're watching someone's life fall apart.
"We're here for the case against the Brown family," the judge said, his voice serious. "The charges are about messing with money, lying, and forcing people to do things." The prosecutor stood up, and the whole mood changed. The air felt charged. The prosecutor spoke quietly, but every word stung. "We have proof that one person in the family was controlling all the money. We have papers showing that money was moved around in secret. And we have people who will say that the family used money to control and make others do what they wanted." The room reacted. Some people gasped. Others whispered. The Brown family looked surprised, not because they didn't see it coming, but because they didn't think the truth would come out in public. It was a heavy moment, like something was crushing everyone. It was someone who used to be close to the family, someone who trusted them. When they stood up, the room went silent. Everyone seemed to be holding their breath, waiting for the first blow. The person started talking, their voice a little shaky. "I was part of the shared money thing," they said. "I trusted them. I thought they were honest. But I found out the money was being used for things no one knew about." They paused, looking at Kody.
I saw fake papers.
"I saw money being moved to accounts that weren't for the family. And I was told to keep quiet." The room got cold. Robyn's face went white. Kody's expression changed. His calm disappeared. The other wives stared, not believing what they were hearing. It was like everything was turned upside down. You could see the first signs of panic in their eyes. Then the person said the thing that broke everything. "They told me if I said anything, I'd be cut off and ruined." The prosecutor smiled a little, like they knew they had things under control. The judge looked down at the papers. The tension grew. You could feel it in the air, like a storm getting closer. The person continued, their voice trembling. "I was told I'd be rewarded if I kept quiet. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep living a lie." Mary's eyes filled with tears. She looked like she wanted to stand up and yell, but she held back. She knew how dangerous it was to speak up. She knew what happened to people who broke the rules. Christine's face turned red with anger. She leaned forward a little, like she was ready to jump up and confront the person speaking. Janelle's hands were clenched tight in her lap, her knuckles white. Her eyes were glued to Kody, waiting for him to say something. Anything. She looked like she was trying to stay in control, but you could see the fear in her eyes. She didn't move. She didn't speak. She just stared. The person kept talking. "I saw the money being used for personal stuff. For trips, for fancy things. I saw it being used to control people. I saw it being used to keep people loyal. The room went silent again. The words hung in the air like a curse. The prosecutor stepped forward. "Do you have proof?" he asked. The person nodded. The evidence was brought in. Papers, statements, bank records. The judge looked at them closely. The courtroom watched as the judge's expression changed. A little, but you could tell. This was the moment when the truth started to sink in. The person looked at Kody and then dropped a bomb that turned the whole room upside down. "I was told that if anyone questioned the money, they'd be kicked out of the family." The room gasped. Kody's face went white. Robyn's jaw tightened. The other wives stared at him like they couldn't believe what they were hearing. You could see the fear in their eyes now. They were realizing they weren't just tricked. They were controlled. The prosecutor kept going, and the person has more evidence. The person took a deep breath and said, "There's one more thing." Everyone leaned forward. The person looked at the Brown family, and then spoke in a voice that sounded like they'd been carrying a huge secret for years. "I saw a contract," they said. It was signed by one person. It gave them control over the money, and the others weren't told about it. The room went silent. The judge looked at the document, then at the family. The tension was unbearable. Kody's hands shook a little. Robyn's face went white. The other wives stared at the document like it was a weapon. The person finished. "I was told to keep quiet. I was told that if I didn't, I'd lose everything." The courtroom went quiet again. The judge looked at the person. "Is this all true?" The person nodded, and then they said the final thing that made everyone's heart stop. "I'm not the only one who knows." The room got even quieter. Everyone looked at each other. And in that moment, everyone realized that the truth was way bigger than anyone thought. The courtroom's buzzing, only now it's not just gossip. This ain't some TV show. Everyone gets it. This is real, and it's bad. The prosecutor stands and bam, silence. He looks at the Browns, cold as ice. No yelling needed. The quiet does the trick. "We'll show you more stuff," he says. Stuff that proves this wasn't an accident. Robyn's face tightens. Kody goes blank. Christine's eyes cut like glass. Janelle's hands turn to fists. Mary's already crying like she's about to break. The prosecutor points to a pile of papers. They seem normal, but what's inside isn't. He starts reading. These show money moved from the family account to a private one, controlled by one person. Used for personal junk, trips, fancy stuff, even things never told to the others. Robyn turns white. Her mouth opens a bit, like she can't breathe. The cameras catch it all, hands shaking, eyes darting around. Kody's jaw clenches. He stares at the table, not looking up. You can see the tension, like he's trying to hold it together. Christine jumps up, voice sharp. "No way," she says. "We didn't agree to any of this." The prosecutor just looks at her, no emotion. "We have the proof." Then he shows some emails. The emails are clear, raw. One says, "If anyone asks about the money, we make them sorry." Another, "Don't tell the others, shut up." The room falls quiet. The judge looks dead serious, trying to take in what he's seeing. Mary cries quietly, trying to hide it, but you can see. She wipes the tears, embarrassed to look weak. Too late. Janelle looks like she wants to scream, but she stays cool. She sits stiff, eyes glued to Kody, like she's waiting for him to make it all go away. Christine's face is red, mad. She looks like she'll blow. She stands again, voice shaking. "How could you do this to us?" she says. "How could you lie?" Robyn's voice is ice. "We did what we had to," she says. "To keep the family together." Christine laughs, bitter. "Was it really?" Robyn's eyes flash. "You don't get what it takes." Christine gets louder. "I get it enough to know this is wrong." The argument gets loud fast. The courtroom's tight. The air's thick, ready to pop. The judge bangs the gavel. "Order," he says. Order in the court. Robyn's eyes go wide. The other wives stare, shocked.
The witness keeps going. I saw the threats. I saw the acting. I saw how they used money like a weapon.
The prosecutor nods, nodding. Then the witness says the worst part. There was a scheme, the witness says, to control the family, to shut up anyone who spoke up. The room goes cold.
The judge looks at the witness. Who was in on it?
The witness looks at the Brown family. More than one, they say, and they were working together.
Robyn's face changes. She looks like she's trying to figure it out. Then she gets mad. Then terrified.
Kody's hands shake. His eyes look watery. You can see the stress. Christine stands up, voice shaking. Who? She shouts. Who was in on it? The witness looks at Robyn. You, they say. And you, Kody. The room blows up. Robyn stands up, eyes wide. No, she says. You're lying.
I have proof.
The prosecutor shows more stuff. Photos, texts, recordings. Too much proof. The judge looks hard at everything. His face gets serious. The courtroom goes silent. The Brown family looks like they're about to fall apart.
Then the witness drops the final bomb. There was a scheme to cut off one of the wives, the witness says. They wanted her to look unstable,
like she was nuts. Mary's face goes white. Janelle's eyes go wide. Christine looks like she'll faint. Robyn gets angry. Who? She shouts. The witness looks at them all. It was Mary. Mary shakes all over. She looks like she'll fall. She starts to cry. She whispers, "Why?" The witness answers, calm but firm. Because she was the easiest. The courtroom goes silent. Then the judge speaks. This is bad, he says. The proof is too much.
We'll pick this up tomorrow.
The Brown family leaves the courtroom, the heat following them. They walk out together. But they're broken. They aren't a family anymore. Just people who used to be close. And the truth is still coming. The courtroom was packed, buzzing with fearful whispers. This case wasn't just about cash anymore. It was about control, lies, and a secret kept hidden for years. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. The Brown family sat together. A picture of anything but unity. Fear, anger, and betrayal were etched on their faces. Kody stared blankly at the table, his hands folded. Robyn sat beside him, tense, her eyes darting around like she was expecting trouble. Christine sat with her arms crossed, jaw tight, her eyes blazing. Janelle's hands were in her lap, her eyes fixed on Kody. Mary sat with her head down, silently crying. The judge walked in, and the room went silent.
The prosecutor stood up, his tone serious, signaling that things were about to get real. We're now going to play some audio, the prosecutor said.
Recordings of the family. These recordings show how they used their power to control, trick, and threaten anyone who dared to question them. A chill filled the room. Robyn went pale. Kody's eyes popped open. The other wives looked shocked. The air crackled with tension. The prosecutor played the first recording. The voices were clear, the words brutal. You know what happens if you question where the money goes, one voice said. You'll be cut off. You'll lose everything. Silence. Mary started sobbing. Christine's face flushed with anger. Janelle looked like she was about to explode. Kody's hands trembled. Robyn's face went blank, but her eyes screamed fear. The prosecutor played the second recording. This time, it was even worse. Make sure she keeps quiet, a voice ordered. We don't need her causing problems. If she speaks up, we'll destroy her. Again, silence. The judge examined the evidence carefully, his face turning grim. The prosecutor continued. These recordings prove that this family used threats and manipulation to control each other. The Browns looked like they were about to fall apart. The truth was out in the open, and there was no denying it.
Christine stood up, her voice shaking.
How could you do this? She cried. How could you lie to us? Kody tried to speak, but nothing came out. He looked down, avoiding everyone's gaze. Janelle's eyes welled with tears. We trusted you, she said.
We believed in you, and you used us. Mary's voice broke. I trusted you, she whispered. I trusted all of you.
Robyn stood up, her voice booming.
You don't get what it takes to keep a family together, she said. You don't understand the sacrifices we have to make.
Christine's voice turned cold. What
sacrifices?
You used us. Robyn's face twisted with anger.
You don't understand the pressure. Christine's voice grew louder.
Pressure is no excuse for betrayal. The argument exploded. The family was fighting in public, and the courtroom was their stage. The tension was building to a breaking point. The judge banged his gavel. Order, he yelled. Order in the court, but it was no use. The fight just got louder. The family was tearing itself apart in front of everyone, and the truth was becoming more dangerous. The prosecutor called a new witness, someone who used to be close to the family, someone who knew all their secrets. The witness took the stand. I was part of their system, the witness began. I trusted them. I believed in them. But then I learned the truth. The witness paused, looking directly at Kody. I saw the money moving around, the witness said. I saw the threats and tricks. And I saw how they planned to silence anyone who questioned them. The room went cold.
The witness continued. There was a plan to set up one of the wives.
They wanted to make her look crazy, unstable. Silence. Mary's face went white. She was shaking. She looked like she was about to faint. Janelle's eyes went wide. Christine's face turned red. Robyn's turned angry.
The witness continued. They wanted to ruin her, to shut her up completely, to make sure she was all alone. The courtroom was dead silent. The judge turned to the witness.
Who? He asked.
The witness looked at the Brown family.
It was Mary, they said. Mary shook, on the verge of collapse. Her eyes filled with tears. She whispered, Why? The witness replied calmly but firmly, because she was the easiest target. Silence. The judge looked at the Brown family. This is bad, he said. We'll continue tomorrow. The Browns left the courtroom, but the tension followed them like a dark cloud. They walked out together, but they were done. They weren't a family anymore. They were just people who used to be connected. And the truth was still out there, waiting to be told. The air in the room felt thick, and everyone looked totally drained, like they were hit hard emotionally, not just tired. The truth had been trickling out, but now the family was getting slammed by the full force of it. The courtroom felt like where dreams go to die. The judge walked in, and the room went quiet. The lawyer stood up, looking serious. He looked sure he'd already won. Okay, we're going to show the last evidence, the lawyer said. This shows how much they controlled and messed with each other. The Brown family looked stressed. Kody's hands were shaking. Robyn was super pale. Christine looked mad. Janelle looked white as a sheet, and Mary looked like she might faint. The lawyer kept talking. These papers show that they used a shared money thing to control everyone. They scared, messed with, and threatened each other to keep people quiet. He stopped to let that sink in. The lawyer went on, We have proof that one person called all the shots with the money. No one else knew what was going on or how the money was being spent.
Robyn looked hard. She seemed like she was trying to stay composed, but her eyes showed she was scared. She knew everyone could see the truth.
Kody just looked down, avoiding everyone's eyes. He knew he couldn't hide from the truth anymore. Christine stood up, her voice shaky. This isn't right, she said. This is a stab in the back. The lawyer nodded. Yeah, he said. It is. Then the lawyer played some recordings. The stuff on them was harsh. In one recording, someone got threatened. In another, someone was told to lie. The recordings showed how much control they had. The judge looked closely at the evidence, his face turning serious. The courtroom got quiet again. The Brown family looked like they were about to fall apart. They looked hurt and scared. The lawyer kept going. We also have proof they planned to cut off one of the wives. They wanted her to seem unstable, like she was losing it. Mary turned pale and looked like she was going to pass out. The lawyer looked at the family. This is serious stuff. We're calling a witness now. The witness walked up to the stand, looking nervous but like they had made up their mind. They seemed like someone who had lost everything. The witness swore to tell the truth. Then they started talking. "I was part of the shared money thing," the witness said. "I trusted them. I believed them, but then I saw what was really going on." The witness stopped and looked at Kody. "I saw the money moving around. I saw the threats. I saw how they messed with people. And I saw how they planned to silence anyone who questioned them," the witness said. The room felt cold again. The witness kept talking. They had secret meetings where they figured out how to control the family, how to hide the truth, and how to shut up anyone who spoke up. Robyn went pale, her eyes wide. She looked like she was about to scream. Kody's hands shook, and he looked like he was about to cry. You could feel the stress in the air. Christine stood up again, her voice shaky. "Who was in on this?" she asked. The witness looked at Robyn. "You," they said. "And you, Kody." The room exploded. Robyn stood up, her eyes wide. "No," she said. "You're lying." The witness shook their head. "I have proof." The lawyer pulled out more stuff, photos, texts, and recordings. It was too much to ignore. The judge looked closely at papers, his face all serious. The courtroom was dead silent. The Brown family looked like they couldn't take it anymore. Then the witness dropped a bomb. "They planned to leave one of the wives out to dry," the witness said. "They wanted her to seem unstable, like she was losing it." Mary looked white as a ghost. Janelle's eyes went wide. Christine looked like she was going to faint. Robyn looked angry. "Who?" she yelled. The witness looked at all of them and said, "It was Mary." Mary shook like a leaf. She looked like she was going to fall apart, and her eyes teared up. "Why?" The witness answered calmly but firmly, "Because she was the easiest to get to." The courtroom went quiet again. The judge looked at the Brown family. "We'll pick this up tomorrow." The Brown family left the courtroom, but the stress followed them. They walked out together, but they were wrecked. They weren't a family anymore. They were just people who used to be related, and there was way more truth just waiting to come out. The Brown family showed up again, but the silence felt different this time. It wasn't that tense quiet of waiting for something bad to happen. It was the quiet that comes after the explosion, when you're waiting to see what happens next. The judge walked in, and the room went silent. Everyone stood, but you could feel the tension. The prosecutor looked calm, with a little smile. They knew they'd already done enough damage. They knew the truth was out. The defense looked beat, like they knew things weren't going to go their way. Kody looked older, worn out. Robyn was pale, looking off into space. Christine looked mad, but also sad. Janelle looked like she'd given up. Mary looked broken, but she was still standing. The judge sat down. "We'll start closing statements now," he said. The prosecutor stood up. "Judge," he said calmly, "the evidence is clear. This wasn't a mistake. It was a plan. The family used money to control people and keep them in line. They used fear to shut anyone up who asked questions." He paused to let that sink in. "We have papers, recordings, and people who will say that the family was being sneaky. They hid money info. They moved cash around in private. They threatened anyone who questioned them." The room was silent. The prosecutor kept talking. "The family used shared money to keep everyone loyal. They used fear to keep them quiet. They used tricks to control them. And when someone spoke up, they were threatened and cut off." Robyn turned pale, like she was about to faint. Kody's hands shook, and his eyes were red. Christine's face got red, like she was about to yell. Mary's eyes teared up. Janelle looked down, trying not to cry. The prosecutor went on. "This wasn't just a family fight. This was a trick, a plan, a betrayal." The defense lawyer stood up. He sounded strong, but you could see he was stressed. "Judge," he said, "the family is not perfect, but they aren't crooks. They've been through a lot, but they aren't guilty of what they're being accused of. These papers are being taken the wrong way." He looked at the Brown family. They did what they thought was right. They were trying to keep the family together. The judge listened closely. Then he spoke. "This is a big case. There's a lot of evidence, and the accusations are bad. I'll look over everything, and make a choice. The courtroom waited, holding their breath. The judge said, "Before I give my decision, I want to ask the witness one last thing." The witness stood up, face calm, but their eyes looked hurt. They looked like they'd already lost everything. The judge looked at the witness. "Do you have anything else to say?" The witness looked at the Brown family and spoke in a voice that sounded like they'd been hiding something for years. "Yes," the witness said. "I found out something worse than the money stuff." Everyone leaned in. The witness took a deep breath. "I found out that the family was planning to ruin someone's life. They were planning to destroy someone in a way that would look like an accident." The room gasped. Robyn turned white. Kody's eyes got big.
Christine stepped forward, voice shaking. "What do you mean?" "I mean, they were planning to shut someone up for good." The room went nuts. The judge hit his gavel. "Order, order." But the damage was done. Now everyone in the courtroom was staring at each other like they didn't know what to believe. The prosecutor spoke calmly. "Judge, we have proof that the family planned to cut off and destroy one of the wives. We have proof they were going to hurt her reputation and her life." The defense lawyer stood up. "That's not true." The judge looked at the evidence, face turning serious. The witness kept talking, voice shaking. "The plan was to make it look like an accident. They wanted to wreck her reputation. They wanted to ruin her life." The courtroom was silent. Mary shook, like she was about to fall. Her eyes filled with tears. Janelle looked shocked. Christine looked angry. Robyn turned pale. Kody's hands shook. The judge looked at the Brown family. "Is this true?" The Brown family didn't say anything. The judge said, "This court will meet again in 24 hours for the decision." The Brown family left the courtroom, and the tension went with them. The family walked out together, but they were broken. They weren't a family anymore. They were just people who used to be close. And the truth was still out there, waiting to come out.